Hey, Tom. Breaking news on Trash Talk Tom here. Hey, we're talking about a little different of a subject here. We're talking about news detox. Wow. What's that have to do with anything? News detox, or what does it even mean? And I wanted to talk about it in this way a little. I'm older, in my later 60s, and there's people older than me, a little younger than me. So let's just say that's an older generation. And then you have a younger generation, okay? They're late teens, 20s, 30s, little younger generation. But in some ways, those two generations, older, younger, are connected and maybe having some of the same problems. What type of problems could they have? Well, I created a little video. I want you to watch it with me. Just about two different generations, how they are connected. Let's take a look at the video. We'll talk about a few of the points. Here it is.
Sitting there.
Two generations connected to the same world in very different ways. One through constant headlines, the other through endless screens. But both share something in common. The brain treats it all as constant input. Too much negative news can increase stress, encourage stillness, and slowly drain productivity. And when every story feels heavy, it can leave the mind feeling helpless. On the other side, constant digital exposure fuels anxiety, disrupts sleep, and invites comparison, quietly affecting mood, focus, and how we see ourselves. But when the noise is reduced and replaced with something real, like time outdoors, the mind begins to reset. Not disconnected, just balanced.
Yeah, nice video to put some words, pictures together. But did you get some of the points in that video about news? Too much news. We're taking in so much every day. And it's good to know what's going on in the world. But really, the question is, how much of the news do we need to keep taking on? Or how long? Or how much time are you spending watching the news? Because a lot of the news is negative. A lot of it. Very serious things going on. And of course, okay, like I say, it's good to know what's going on. But taking in too much of the negative news really just can affect us, really. And sometimes we don't even think how well or how much that is affecting us. Could be affecting our mood. Let's say if you're watching news all the time, your productivity, that you could be doing some other things. That productivity goes down because you're so glued to the news. And they make it that way, because how many times in a day? Oh, breaking news all the time, right? Of course, things like 9/11 or something like that, it's no doubt interesting and you kind of glued to it. Those are certain history events that, yeah, you're glued to the TV for a while. There's no doubt about it. But are you able to take a break? Let your mind, your brain just going. It's taking it in. There's scientific studies about how much of the news and all this that we're taking in, how it affects our moods, things like that. And that's talking maybe a little more about the news about my generation. But now, you've seen it in the video, the problem of a newer, younger generation. Yeah. Now we can get news, all the digital things that are happening on our phones, or you got tablets. Now, is that any different? No. Younger people, the younger generation are taking in so much. Could be news or now social media. Taking in so much on a constant basis. And is it affecting the younger generation too? Certainly is, right? We talked about productivity. You see it. You see the younger ones. I mean, they're glued to these phones, the tablets. I mean, for hours and hours and hours. And of course, older ones can too. But the younger ones are just taking in so much and so much. And a lot of it, do you really think, is it really good information? I mean, can be questionable on that one. But again, it affects their mood. A lot of them are scrolling all night long, affecting their sleep, which affects their physical health. But I'm going to talk about one big thing, especially with the younger ones, if you want to say that younger generation. A lot of it you see on social media is about comparisons, right? Because a lot of people on social media, they're just having this wonderful life and they look wonderful and everything else. And you can see, people are, oh, I want to be just like that. Or I'm not good enough. I really feel bad about myself. Because, social media, a lot of times you're just seeing these little clips of someone's life and it's just wonderful. There is no doubt about it. But the comparisons, it's a really, really big problem, I think. So the problem and solution. Problem, we have too much going into our brain, affecting us. Solutions, you've really got to try to discipline yourself to limit the amount of exposure, news, digital exposure that we're having in today's world. Big solution. You'll hear it all the time on Trash Talk Tom. Get outside. Take a break from the electronics. Get outside for a while. Do it for your physical health, but also you need to reset that mind. And when you're out in nature, sensing beautiful areas and the nature and the wildlife and so many things, it can reset that mind. Take that time. Give your mind a few minutes off. Try to discipline to take some time off to do that. Because all these electronics, they're compelling. I mean, they just are there and you want them really. You almost get right addicted to them. Break that addiction. Get outside. Enjoy nature for a while. That's what we're all about with Trash Talk Time. That's what we call ecotherapy. Take that time, get outside, reset, refresh your mind physically and mentally for your health.